Let's talk about profit.
We'd all love all of our numbers to be smooth lines up and to the right, but that's not how it works.
Profits are not our primary goal. Some of the board members to question that statement.
Do you think that capitalism has failed to deliver for working class Americans?
Wall Street is our street! Wall Street is our street!
As a bank lends money, it cares about one thing, its own profits.
General Motors, that stock's up. Its profit in North America jumped 33%.
When Wall Street engaged in insider trading, market manipulation, fraudulent activity, predatory lending, how many Wall Street executives went to jail?
Facebook on Wednesday once again reported a growing profit. The social network reported net income of more than $2 billion for the latest quarter.
Occupy Wall Street was a social movement against income inequality, corporate greed, and the influence of big business in politics.
It's not capitalism that has failed them, it's socialism, it's corporatism, it's crony capitalism, it's fascism. That is the problem.
We have this no-holds-barred, Wild West hyper-capitalism. What that means is profit at any cost.
People are walking into their pharmacies today and seeing the price of the medicine they've had for 20 years double for no explanation other than the fact that the drug companies can do it, are doing it, so they can make outrageous profits.
Greed run amok at the top.
How should we think about profit? Is profit good or is it evil? Is it the purpose of business or just a tool for measuring? Does profit have a positive role in society, or does the search for profit harm the common good? At a foundational level, is it really okay to sell something for more than it costs to make? These are important ethical, social, even political questions. There are no simple answers. Much of it depends on the context. How was the profit made? Is the product immoral? Was there cheating or exploitation? Before we address the morality of profit, let's begin by asking what profit is and what it does. The standard definition of profit is revenue minus expenses. What's left over is the profit.
Profit is total revenue, what you bring in the door, minus total cost, and that is a very important thing to measure.
Profit is the little bit that's left between what you sell products for and what it costs you to operate the business.
Profit is the surplus that you have at the end of the year when you've paid off everything and depreciated everything. And it's that surplus that can then be used either for growth or for distribution.
In a business, profit is represented by the income statement. Yet the income statement is only a simplified picture of a more complex reality. Expenses represent a large number of things going on in a business. Costs of natural resources, machines, buildings and maintenance, salaries and benefits, inventory, taxes, insurance, environmental protection, creating a positive workplace for your employees, legal compliance, marketing, human resources. If your revenue, what you make from what you sell, is greater than what it costs to run your business, then you have a profit.
Profit is the leftovers. As an entrepreneur, that's the way I've always thought about it. That's what my dad taught it to me. The entrepreneur or the business owner always gets the leftovers. So everybody else gets taken care of first, and then you get what's left. And hopefully, if you're doing your job well, it's a lot, right? That's the goal, is to do something efficiently enough and create enough value that the leftovers are significant enough. That's a signal that you're doing the right things and you need to do more of those things.
That's the basics of profit. But it only tells part of the picture. Profit has a much broader meaning and impact on business and society than is seen in the income statement. So what does profit do, and what does it mean? And what is the social significance of profit? First, profit is a signal. It conveys information that can't be otherwise known.
Profit is a signal that you're doing something right. And it's also a signal that the market wants you to do more of it. So by increasing your profit, by earning more money, that means you should expand. Entrepreneurship is value creation. So if you make profit out of creating value, that's the signal from the consumers that what you're doing is good, continue doing it, and do more of it.
Profit for the entrepreneur is essential to connect with consumers, to connect with customers. And profit and loss in that regard are both equally important. Loss, of course, is something that entrepreneurs would like to avoid. A loss means that your cost as an entrepreneur exceeds the revenue that you've brought in. It could be that you have a good idea, that people would want it, but you couldn't produce it at a low enough cost for people to be able to sacrifice to buy it. It could also mean that your idea is just not fitting into what consumers want.
Profit does not only give information about individual businesses, it's also a social signal.
The consumer is saying yes or no. And if you get the no, then you have to figure out, was my production too expensive? Or are these scarce resources not to be allocated in this way? Should I do something different?
Profit is also a moral and cultural signal. For example, if there's a lot of profit in morally evil acts like pornography, it tells us that there's something going wrong in our culture that needs attention. Profit has social significance far beyond any individual business.
So profit is inherently social because it is a cooperative venture between anonymous participants in commercial exchange, and that's really important.
What else does profit do? First, profit is an engine for growth. When a company makes a profit, it's often used to invest and expand the business, hire more people, build new factories, improve the products line, etc.
Well, profit is clearly important because without profit, how are you going to reinvest? How are you going to grow? How are you going to expand? And how then are you going to share, the wealth? So business is about wealth creation, and it's the profit that is then available for wealth distribution. So without profit, we have nothing to share. So when we look at a business plan, the first screen for us is actually the financial.
Profit is the thing that makes us all work. Without that, nothing is sustainable. That's what keeps our businesses going. That's what allows us to grow and reinvest and create jobs.
Another part of this that's important to understand is that profit becomes capital. Capital is essential for reinvestment and investment in new businesses. Without capital, that's the money to invest that comes from profit, there is stagnation, poverty, and social upheaval.
So unless you want a static business that just doesn't grow, then profit isn't then important. But if you want a business that can grow to scale, you got to be profitable. You got to look at the bottom line.
Second, when a company is profitable, it pays a percentage of the profit in taxes, which are used to fund roads, schools, police, fire and military, and other social services. This in turn helps create conditions for business and society to flourish. Without profitable business, there is no tax base. At the same time, when taxes are too high, they can have the opposite effect. They can discourage business and harm the economy.
Businesses pay, the main bulk of the tax revenues for these countries so that they can build the infrastructures. Without the tax revenue, they can't build their roads, they can't build their bridges, they can't build their schools and hospitals. So the wealth creators are these businesses. So you've got to have these businesses there in all these countries.
The third thing that profit does is it enables people to engage in charity and philanthropy. They can use their profit to care for the poor and local community, build schools, hospitals, churches, and enrich cultural life.
How can we contribute to the greater good by taking a certain part of our profit and reinvesting it in society. Not necessarily just more trucks and equipment and buildings and people, but also to a broader community or a broader group of people that need help.
The fourth thing that profit does is that over time, a profitable company spreads wealth to lots of people through salaries, benefits, and profit sharing with its employees and income to its suppliers. This is a multiplier effect on the community because the employees also pay taxes, invest in other businesses, and give to charity, community, churches, hospitals, and so on.
Beyond that, I think businesses can also distribute wealth amongst its employees.
If you're not self-sustainable through being profitable, you can't keep supporting the community. So if we just stay as we are not going to grow, and we can't supply more jobs. We can't create more opportunities. We've grown over the past decade from a team of about 30, we've grown to 64 permanent positions. And through these positions, we have impacted 64 families. So you've got to be self-sustainable and you've got to be profitable to be able to grow and plow back into your team and into your people.
We're in these roles to serve others, whether it's our customers, our communities, our employees, our suppliers. But you got to put your money where your mouth is. And we developed in 1962 a profit sharing plan. The people that you walked by yesterday, some of those folks are retiring after driving a high-low or loading trucks for 40 years with over $1 million in their profit sharing plan. They're walking out of here with a comfortable, secure retirement. Could we do that without profit? It all starts there. That's what allows us to be generous and allows us to reinvest for the future. None of that happens without a bottom line.
Profit plays an important role in business and goes beyond simply making money for consumption. At the same time, the pursuit of profit can lead to moral and social destruction.
The latest figures from the International Organization for Migration estimate that 80% of all Nigerian women that make it across the Mediterranean to Italy are forced into the sex trade. At its heart are female traffickers who enslave women to extort tens of thousands of dollars.
Profit creates strong incentives to focus on short-term gains at the expense of long-term.
Fashion has gotten faster, cheaper, and more disposable. There's another cost to stocking up on fresh looks. Fashion is now one of the most polluting industries in the world.
It can, when taken too far, or driven by greed and avarice, create incentives to do harmful things.
Working conditions in some of those overseas factories are notoriously bad, and in this case, as Sean reported, warnings the building was unsafe were not heeded.
We can rationalize poor working conditions, paying our employees less than they deserve, and polluting the environment simply to make a profit. Sometimes this is just a poor business decision. Other times, it can be morally evil. When this happens, the social benefit of profit is outweighed by the costs to people and the common good.
Despite labor laws in Mexico, camp bosses at many of the labor camps in question withheld pay from workers.
Profit also presents a personal moral challenge. Pursuit of profit and wealth can lead us to compromise our deepest held moral beliefs and can corrupt our moral lives.
How many times does the Bible reference the perils of wealth and speak directly to the wealthy? I think under topics, that topical headers, that would be number one, I think. It's all over the Bible. The perils of wealth and the trappings of success, the dangers that come with all that.
Ultimately, profit must be placed within a moral framework of human action and human responsibility. Profit is good for business and society, but it cannot be seen by itself. It must be seen as part of an economic and social ecosystem. We have to view profit in light of a good society.